Let me start this video off by showing you the finished bowl that I had been working on in my last video. It's comments from some people were, oh, it's going to be a good looking bowl. I hope you see what it looks like when it's done. Well, there it is. And it came out to be the best bowl I've made yet. So my friend, the woodcutter guy, gave me this big chunk, well, quite a bit of honey locust. But this was an oddball chunk that was left over. It wasn't sliced into manageable, like a 2x4 or 2x1 or whatever. This was just like a log section. And I ended up finally cutting it on my bandsaw. I had to cut down on the bark so it would fit in this space that I have. This is not like a major bandsaw. It's a little 9-inch one from Harbor Freight. And I ended up getting a couple of smaller pieces that fit in there. This just barely made it. You can see on this one I had to chop off the bark too to be able to get it in there. But the grain on this thing is just beautiful. And then so now here's a piece that's ready to be turned into a blank. So I need to get my yardstick out, my measuring, not a yardstick, lost for words. Anyway, I got to measure out the lines on it to make a blank so it'll be able to fit on the lathe. But boy, that grain is just something else. And this, again, is honey locust. And I want to find some other wood to go with it so I could do like a layer of this, a layer of something else, a layer. So I got to go looking in the garage here and see what else I can find. Now, I managed to cut out a couple of blanks. I don't even know what the measurements on this thing are. Let's see. And it is 8 inches. There. It's an 8-inch long blank. And I think it's about an inch. Yeah, about an inch. Inch and a quarter. So, there's one of them, and then over here is the other one. I just started roughing it out. It's always a little jumpy going at first. And what I have to do is determine how high this should be. I have it all the way on the slowest setting. And even then, it still jumped several times, and I had to go back over here and tighten this up because it was loose in there. And then this wasn't catching on like it should, and now it is. This is the newest purchase I got. This is a Morse Taper 1 spindle thing. I love it. The other one I used was one that came with it, which was a itty-bitty little, tiny half-inch little thing. And this is so much better already. So I'm really happy how I got the wood situated this time. I'm not real intelligent about how to cut wood so that the grain looks like it should, the best it could be. But I got lucky this time. And you can see there's a knot in there, which I like. And there's a nice pattern coming up here in the wood that this is going to be, I think, gorgeous when it's done. And then this other piece that I cut is basically a mirror image of it. So this is going to be a real pretty set. Seems like we got a crack right there. That's okay. I got some super glue to put in there if I have to. I've been shaping this, kind of getting it to the way I want it. Got a bad split on my thumb. And I've already got the half-inch holes drilled in there. And then I've been wanting it to be not bulky. I'm trying to not make it a girl ferro rod handle, but sort of, I guess you would make. That's kind of was in my mind to make something more, I don't know what the word is for it. Curvy? So that's definitely more curvy, but I'm getting there. It's starting to, it's how it feels when you hold it. But then right there is that knot that I've been dealing with, and there it's funny, you can't see it on the camera as good as you can with the regular eye. That's a gap in there. And so, and I've already got the hole for the lanyard. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to stop for a while here. I'm going to put super glue in there and let it set up really good before I work any more on this. As soon as it's getting there, I've even sandpapered it a little bit. But look at the grain on this thing. It's just unbelievable. It's going to be stunning when it's done. And I want to get some smaller details in here yet. And then the problem will be is how to get a handle that matches that for the striker. But it's coming along. I'm pretty happy so far.
I found a picture of a shelf I like.
So you see, there's blocks between each shelf, so that's what I'm doing right now. I'm eyeballing this. I'm obviously not making it the same size as that picture because I have no idea what those measurements are. So I'm just doing what looks good to me. So, and here's the first block that I put, which would be underneath the very top shelf, which is the smallest, onto the one that's second. There, you see the step pattern it has? And I'm just getting ready to cut the other block out. So I measured them, cut them out, and sanded them so they're nice and flat. And now I'm getting ready to do the other one to go right over here so I can attach the top shelf to those blocks. And then I'll have to attach them underneath with the second shelf. Okay, that's what I'm going to do next. Cut that other block out. So this wood that I'm using, and this is a piece here that hasn't been cut quite yet. It's that lapping, I don't know what you call it, shiplap? Any case, I have to cut those edges off so it becomes a usable kind of board. And there on this drawing, you see there's a large one, a medium, and a very small one. And so what I've got so far is, let me move that one. There's the large one, and what I did is I overlapped two of them, and you see that joint right there. And I glued them and clamped them last night, and then today I went through and, yeah, you can't, there's a nail. I put these tiny little nails in there, and then I just got through grinding off the tips of them. Obviously, this is some glue from something, because this was used wood. It has to all be sanded, and then that's the measurement I came up with. And then here's the second shelf. And of course, it's all got to get sanded, and none of it's been sanded. It's just, I'm just cutting it. It's hard to see with all that white, but there's the bottom shelf. This is going to be the medium shelf. And I'm just getting ready to make the measurements. I just finished it, rather, on where I'm going to make the top shelf, and there's the cut that I got to make on the top shelf, and then it'll be, if you can see it, bottom shelf, middle shelf, top shelf. It's not painted. It's just primed. But I got it on the wall. I used the level to make sure it's up there. Nice and level. Now I got to take it down, paint it, and put the bowls on it. Well, I have all this stuff here in little containers piled up everywhere, and then that over there, it's a mess. So I have this table that I bought at a lawn sale a long time ago. So essentially, this is how the desk started out. And I keep my Dremel stuff inside there. And then I originally was going to have it so I could swing up to it and use it like a little desk. So I had it was all open down there. But I never did, and it's too high for a desk anyway. I put wheels on it. I adjusted the length. I put some blocks on there. I don't know what I thought I was doing. But it's been sitting here this whole time. I've done nothing with it. And it dawned on me today. I'm going to put shelves in there. Yep, there you go, focus. And then I can put this stuff in better containers. I have a couple smaller ones up there. And then I can put them, I'm going to have 3 shelves that should hold all this stuff for the lathe. Oh, that was a workout. Here's that wood. Yeah, I guess you would call it Luan. It's that 1/4 inch stuff. But the shelves are 18 inches by 20 inches. And I need 3 of them to go down those brackets. And so that's my first wood table I make. That's what I call it, my wood table. And I put all my wood there. I got a big piece of that. There's another piece over here. Couple oddball pieces of wood, and then there's the wood I had stacked up on it, and that's that yew wood that my friend had cut down. He had in his yard, and he brought it over to me, and I've had it for a couple of years now. It's got that beautiful red tint to it, that pinkish red, and I haven't decided what to do with it yet. People have said, well, why don't you make a table, just do the edge real good so it butts up against the edge of the other piece. I don't really have the equipment to do that. So it still sits here while I think about what it is I want to do with it. But anyway, I had to unstack all that to get to this wood over here. Now I cut out those 3 shelves and put them on there and see if they will hold the stuff for the lathe. Okay, here's my lathe. And there's no pile of stuff over here falling over, dropping on the floor. Here's my nice new stand. Got all my stuff right there next to me. And up on the top here is the container that has my face mask. I've got one that's got a mesh mask. I've got these other ones. They are the like N95 type masks. And then I have these ones, the respirator dust masks. And it actually can sit on the back there. I might even just put a little tab back there so it doesn't go all the way off, because there's plenty of room back there. And I still can access my stuff for my Dremels, which is not in there at the moment because I have them scattered everywhere. But that's what goes in there is the Dremel. I am so happy with the way this came out.
What an improvement. We got 18 inches in a 24-hour period, and this is my attempt to shovel the sidewalk. That is a good 18 inches deep right there. Terrible.
So I bought this little snowblower on Facebook Marketplace, and it was from a couple nurses actually that work, she said, at Roswell, which is a cancer hospital in Western New York. And which is interesting because I work at just a regular hospital, not a cancer hospital. But interesting that we met together over Facebook. I was looking for a little snowblower, and this fit the deal. She brought it over. She took it out of the truck, set it in the driveway, and pushed the primer, I guess, once or twice. Pulled the handle, and boom, it started right up. I was like, wow, that's awesome. Fast forward, this is January, and I buried. Let's take a little walk over here, shall we? We had 2 storms back to back. I think we got 18 inches the first storm, and I think 6 or 8 the second storm. Let's take a look, shall we? Yeah. My brother-in-law came over today with the backhoe and started moving the snow in preparation for more snow. And that's what my car looks like when I drive back and forth to work. Poor thing. And this is a whole area that I haven't shoveled out yet. It was shoveled out and it got filled back in again. That's my existence. Oh, hold on, I'll show you the stalactites too. Well, that was not as easy as it looked on YouTube. But this piece was in there. And then underneath here, which I only have one hand, so I can't lift it, there's the gas hose goes on here. And man, that was on there. I had a hard time getting it off. I guess I just don't have the hand strength. And so it took quite a while to get it off. I kind of had to wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. I put a screwdriver in there and just kind of wiggled it until it popped off. And then by the same token, I pushed on one of these until it started to squeeze in, and then I stuck a screwdriver underneath the edge of it and popped it off. And I was so glad it did not break, because like I said, this thing is old. Here's this is the part of the primer bulb that was still stuck on it, and it's hard. It's like so brittle. So now the trick is put the new primer bulb on it. Excuse me, put it back in there, rehook everything back up. And this is really that's the spark plug. So I'll be taking that out and getting the new one in. And then when I'm done, put it all back together again and we'll see if it starts. But I guess stuff like this with men who work on machines, their hands are stronger or whatever, but for some almost 63-year-old broad, it's difficult for me to do. My hands just, with my arthritis and stuff, that was really, really hard to get that off of there. But I'm very happy I did. So now to get the new one on. Well, here's the new spark plug, and I discovered a sad truth just now. My little socket set here does not have the fitting for this spark plug. So I cannot take that spark plug out. So I'm just going to put the cap back on it and see if this will start. Apparently I need to get one of those that fits a spark plug, because I think this is a normal size spark plug, like the car and stuff. But yeah, I don't have it. All right, let's see if I can get this thing to start. Oh, all right. New primer is on. I pushed the button. I could tell it's working. I mean to say, this has got to be on. Choke is on. And I'm using the electric start because that's just tough right there, doing that thing. All right, push the button. Push it again. And success! The only problem is I saw white coming out, which means that gas oil mix that I have in there is probably too much oil, which I can burn it off. And then maybe tomorrow, if it's good weather, I can go out and get a fresh, because I know I have an empty can. That one over there is empty. So I can get a fresh gallon of gas and put a new thing of 2-cycle in it. It's 50-1, I think. Anyway, I'll have to read the directions. But yay, success! Wow, that was impressive. That right there is over a foot deep. And that thing went right through it, no problem. And boom, all the way out to the driveway. Wow. You know how long that would have took me shoveling? I'm so happy.
I bought this pair of leather boots and realized they had no tabs, so I couldn't pull them on. And my fingers are just too jacked up with arthritis to yank on them. So I decided to make some little leather poles for myself. And I punched holes in it, punched holes in the back of the boot with my little hole punch, and I used grommets that I had. My oldest granddaughter calls, "Grandma, can you make me this shelf? But instead of 2 shelves, I want 3. I'm going to put my shoes on it." Why, of course I can make it for you, honey. I wanted to show this picture of these fish that I thought might be interesting to some people. Where I live very, very close, as in I can see it out my window, on the edge of Lake Erie. And on January 5th, we had what they called a seismic event. And they're saying it means that the water in the lake shifted to one side of it, causing, of course, the level of the water to overflow its banks and, of course, flood people who lived along the edge of the lake, which was us. They had quite a bit of water, and I think I put up a video. My last video, I showed a picture of what it looked like here when I was allowed to come back. That's not what it looked like at the height of the flood. The water was probably 2 feet deeper, 2 or 3 feet deeper than what you see in the pictures that I posted on my last video. After the water goes away and there's about a foot or so left, they let us come in. But a car will float in 2 feet of water. So if it's that deep, you can't drive in it. In any case, after the water went down, there was a day where it was like no snow. It was kind of nice out, and it was melting the ice water. So because it froze right after the flood, it froze everything. So there was ice lakes everywhere in the yard on all the low spots where the water had not gone away. And it just froze right in place. And on the 13th, I was walking around finding fish everywhere in the yard. And as the ice melted, it exposed the fish. So I just picked up, like, I think there's 7 of them there, and cooked them crappy, and put them out on the patio for the fox. When you know it, right after that, we got a snowstorm, and it buried them again. So I don't know how many fish actually right now are out there in my yard under feet, several feet of snow that we have out in the yard right now, because we've had snowstorm after snowstorm, including... I don't know what date it was when we got, I think in 12 hours we got 18 inches. And then it just, every day it's been that's been the case. We've been getting lake effect snow, 3 to 5 inches, 8 to 10. And so, of course, all the fish are now buried under the snow, and we'll have to wait till spring to see them again. And even in the ones I put on my patio, which you can't see the bottom of my patio anymore because there's about 2 feet of snow on my patio. And somewhere under there is these fish that I put for the fox, but they're nice and preserved until they thaw out and he finds them.